everybody. I love the energy in the room. I hope that means everybody's having a good day, enjoying their time on campus at Berkeley. This is the last session of the day, so I hope I can contribute to everything that you've been learning throughout the day. I know it's been a lot of information. I would also like to congratulate you on your acceptance to the MEng program and welcome you here to campus. I'm Julie McShane. I'm the Director of Career Development and Alumni Relations for the Masters of Engineering program. And I work with Dione Rivera. She is here as well in the back. And the two of us have really enjoyed speaking with you over the last day or so, the last night at the reception and throughout the day today. I have over 15 years of experience working in higher education, and I've been with the Fung Institute for the past 8 years. Out of all the places that I've been, the different institutions and populations, I love working with engineers and in the tech community, and really in the Bay Area. I've lived across the country. I've been in Wisconsin, Boston. I've lived in Seville, Tokyo, but now I consider this home. I hope many of you will agree and find the Bay Area is something, a place that you want to be. You really can't beat the area and the opportunities that are around us. And over the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about some of those opportunities and talk about the programming that we have at the Masters of Engineering program. I'm going to also speak to our most recent career destination survey from our 2018 graduates, so the employers that they're at, salaries, locations, and then the best part, we're going to bring up students again so you can hear from them. We have current students, we have alumni, industry professionals to share their insights with you. So we'll make sure we have plenty of time for that panel and for you to ask some questions. At the end, we will also be having a reception back out in the lounge, and we'll all be here for a little while afterwards for some one-on-one questions. So that's a little bit about me and what we have to look forward to over the next hour. I would like to see who's here, so and also do a little bit of an attendance call because I know everybody was everywhere. Where are all our EECS admits? See you guys all kind of finding each other. ME, we have a lot of people from ME today. Bioengineering, great. Civil engineering, a few here today with us. Great. MSE, nuclear, great. Yeah, MSE over there. See you guys. Nuclear engineering, hi, welcome. IEOR. Great. Okay, good. It looks like everybody made it back. I'd like to do a little pulse of the room. How many people are currently working? So a lot of people currently in industry. Wonderful. So hopefully I can answer all of your questions, get a little bit of insight for those that are looking to pivot in their career, get their first jobs. We have a lot of information to share with you today. So I will get right to it. And before I talk a little bit about what we do, you guys have been listening to us talk so much today. I would love to hear what's the favorite thing that you've heard so far? What have you enjoyed the most? Was it the churros last night? Was it lunch today? Your breakout sessions? Is there, just kind of shout it out. Let's hear from everybody all at once. Was there something that stood out from you at Berkeley? Did you just go for it? I want to hear. Everybody loved the churros, right? Case study. Wonderful. Anything all at once. I would love to. Tacos. Yes. Those were great. Great. Well, I know it was a lot of different things we were throwing at you. So for the career development program, we're looking to meet you where you are if you choose to join us next year and really put together opportunities and resources and coach you along to find out where you want to go on your next path. And for many of you, that looks like it might be the next step in your career. It might be pivoting in your career. Some people continue on with their education. And as you've heard, there's a lot of entrepreneurially spirited people that go on to start their own companies. So how do we do that? We want to give you professional skills, not only to be successful throughout the program, but through your whole career. So we put together programming that actually starts in the summer. And I would say it actually starts today. So look around. If you choose to join us, a lot of these people will be your cohort, your colleagues in industry. Megan sent out an ambassador directory. We had an event last night. It starts now. You're meeting each other, and these are the people that will forever be your support in industry. And that's really exciting. We also want to give you the professional skills to take throughout your career. So we put together programming to start with you. The next step is over the summer. So you hear from the career development team starting in June, and we have a series of professional webinars that are run by our team, industry professionals, and alumni to help you put your best foot forward when you get to campus. So we want to make sure you're ready when you're here. So you can start thinking about things over the summer. You can attend the webinars live. You can watch them recorded. You can watch them all at once. If some people like to travel throughout the summer, when you finally have internet access, you can binge watch our webinars. But we want to give you the opportunity to explore different career paths, to get an idea of maybe a focus that you want to have for next year, to start interacting with alumni, and start to build some of those professional skills. So we'll do a webinar on resume development, and we'll start over the summer with people that want to start thinking about that. And of course, those opportunities will last throughout the year. But we want you to be able to think of these things early and then think of them often. These opportunities to meet with us through one-on-one coaching is always open throughout the year. We do a lot of workshops in addition to the webinar. So once you get to campus, we'll continue with our professional development, and we'll do a series of workshops around salary negotiation, online branding, business etiquette, interview prep, whether it's a case interview, behavioral, or technical. But we want to make sure that when you're going out to interviews, you're prepared. So we want to help you do that. You've heard a lot about how this program is integrative. We want to make sure that the professional side is integrated into the program as well. So you'll actually see assignments in your communications curriculum that will help you think critically and broadly about what you want to do. So giving you the time and the space to think about industries and how you might fit into them. So there's a lot of opportunities to develop professionally at the Fung Institute. And next, we also want to give you the opportunity to explore. So we use our alumni network very broadly. Like I said, they will help us throughout the summer with a series of webinars, ranging from the biotech industry to consulting to automotive, to give you a little taste of what's out there and what our alumni are doing, and how you might get into those industries. And we continue those in person with a series that we call Career Chats. So mostly alumni, other industry professionals that didn't have the privilege of going through our program that will come back and give you the opportunity to learn about their professions and how you can get involved with their particular industry or their organization, or just learn about opportunities that maybe didn't exist, that you didn't know existed. We have a lot of students that have gone on to start their own companies, and those MN startups come back and recruit. So we give them a format to come and recruit the current class to add to their employee base. We have alumni events. We have 2 major flagship alumni events. One in the fall, it's alumni brunch that we really use to kick off the recruiting season at Berkeley. And we have an event that we had just last month in San Francisco we usually have around 200 alumni that register for that event. So our network is highly engaged, and they want to give back. And that's one reason why I love my job so much, because it's such great people. And as you'll see with the panel today, we have alumni on our panel, and they always want to give back and help that next generation of engineers. Some other opportunities, they come back and they do office hours. And we've even just recently launched FI Connect, which is an internal networking database for current students and alumni to connect globally. It's a job board and an opportunity to do informational interviews with the FI community. And it doesn't stop there. So we have opportunities to connect with broader industry. So of course there's some crossover between alumni and industry, but we also have unique opportunities just to interact with industry. So I mentioned getting resumes together. We have those workshops at the beginning of the year. We'll send out our MEng resume book to all of our partner organizations. We have events where we bring employers to campus to have breakfast just with Masters of Engineering students. The industry professionals will come in and have Masters of Engineering specific info sessions. We've done numerous site visits to different companies like Tesla and Autodesk, where we're really using the location that we're at between San Francisco and Silicon Valley to get out there and explore. And the Bay Area has so much. So in addition to being able to go visit these companies, you can also take advantage of meetups that are happening in San Francisco, and other great opportunities to connect with people. And then our campus at large has a lot of great recruiting opportunities. So career fairs at Berkeley run from September through April. Our on-campus recruiting program follows the same calendar. So if you want to do something every day of the week, whether it was going to a career fair, an info session, getting involved with a design challenge, or doing something in San Francisco, you could grab a friend and go do it. The opportunities are really endless. So that's really the three-part approach that we try and do: develop you as professionals, explore career opportunities, and giving you opportunities to connect to industry. And we do our best on the career development team to synthesize those opportunities, whether it be through our monthly email that we send out to make sure you're aware of everything that's happening. We're giving you a platform like FI Connect to connect to your cohort so you can organize and do things together. We have a Facebook page where we post a lot of opportunities. We have our job board. So we try and keep it organized for you as well, because we're very aware of how much is out there and how much that you have to organize and prioritize. But like Coleman said this morning, our population of students, they really are a group of doers. And the amount of things that are happening and what students are taking advantage of is really remarkable. So that's the career development program. Next, I want to give you a little bit of insight into our career destination survey. We got a lot of questions around our career data and where students go on to after our program. So our most recent data is from 2018, and you can compare this to the data that we have on our website going back to 2014. All that is archived on our website. And this is a quick overview of everything. So our response rate to the survey is usually very high. In 2018, we had an 88% response rate. So we're very proud of that. People are always getting back to us when they get their jobs. So we have a lot of data to work with. People usually find their jobs, the majority in the spring semester or within 6 months of graduation. It really depends when people start the process. But I will say people take advantage of a lot of the opportunities throughout the year, but maybe don't actively start recruiting until the spring semester. We usually have about 70% international students, so a very common question is if those international students stay and work in the United States, and the answer is yes. So 80%, 86% of international students are working in the United States, and that statistic is pretty constant, where international students are staying in the United States to work after the program. The average salary, average signing bonus, and of course there is some variance there depending on department and industry. But the majority of people are going into industry. Every year we do have people launch startups out of the program. So in 2018 we had 6 people. And then we had 11 go on to either a PhD or MBA in 2018. So always a handful of students that continue their education and find out that education is really something that they want to pursue. And these are some of our partners. So these are where students go. Some of our biggest recruiting partners, our students are going here year after year. Some of these companies are highly engaged. Apple's one of our biggest recruiters, for example. We always have at least 5+ students going each year. We have over 30 alumni currently at Apple. GM's one of our signature partners, so they do a capstone. They sponsor events. They're very active in recruiting, and the alumni from GM give back in some of those programs that I mentioned. LinkedIn sponsored a networking event at their facilities in San Francisco this year, and gave a great presentation, an overview of data science and the field of data science and the opportunity to meet and mingle with professionals at their offices in San Francisco. Tesla always invites us to their Gigafactory every year in Reno, and is a great recruiter as well. We've done multiple events at Microsoft. So these are some of our major employers, but also to give you an idea of the kind of the depth that they're involved in our program. I put Skyduck on here, and I know you've heard us mention it a few times. We work very closely with them because for the students that do want to start their company, it's a great accelerator to go into right out of the program. And we do events with them around networking with some of their alumni, so students that want to work at startups, and it's a great connection there. But for our students that want to go into an accelerator right out of the program, that is a great partner of ours. And then there's more than this. There are capstone partners that have gone on to interview and give out offers to our students. But this gives you a little bit of a glimpse. You have more on your handout today that you received. This is a breakdown of location. So the majority of students that come to California want to stay in California. 67, that happened to me, I get it. 67% of our 2018 graduates stayed in California. But you can see there are other hubs, and people that are interested in energy might end up in Texas, biotech in Boston. So we do have people across the United States and then globally. Always people that are going to Paris, London, Beijing, Singapore. So we really do have a global network, but this gives you an idea of where our alumni are concentrated. And here is a little bit more information about how our salary average has gone up the last few years, and average signing bonus. So of 2018, the signing bonus was $10,000 of those that reported signing bonuses, and $98,000 overall salary. And I will say that the biggest takeaway for this is reiterating that we're here for Masters of Engineering students to make sure you get the best salary for you. So Dione and I can help negotiate offers with you and talk that through. We do workshops around it. But there's a lot of factors that go into somebody's salary exiting the program. It's industry dependent. It is if you have work experience, if you're going to a large firm, a small firm. So there are a lot of factors, but I know this is always a very popular question. And here are some sample job titles. And I think the real takeaway here is that people from this program are going on to do everything and in every industry. And I think that is such a great asset. If you ever want to change industries, or if you ever had professional questions, you know, or you will know somebody that is doing everything. So you have connections to people across industries, across job families. And if you are ever looking to pivot in the future, chances are you know somebody that's doing that role. So that's all I had for our career development program. I do want to invite the panel up because I think this will give you an opportunity to ask them some direct questions. So that's all I had for right now, but I will be here to also answer any of your questions at the end. So that's all I have right now. Why don't you guys come on up? So one of the first things that we do in this program is review elevator pitches and how to introduce yourself. So that's how we're going to get started. And then I have a few questions that were submitted online that I'm going to kick off the panel, and then we'll turn it over to you guys. So we just want to make sure all of our mics are on. Great. And we do.
Can we sit in the 1, 2, 3, 4 mic order?
Sure.
Okay. Are you?
Is there
I'm
one?
three.
What, no, how do you know your number?
Anybody 4?
I'm 4, yeah.
2. Are you 1?
I'm 3.
All right.
Do you want to just switch spots? Is it easier to switch spots?
Okay, great. So if we could, we'll start with our introductions, elevator pitch. Kishan is CEO of Kunai. If you want to kick us off and everybody can introduce yourselves.
Sure. Do you want like career, like education? Like where should I start?
Yeah. So
my life story is pretty long.
Let's not start in kindergarten. Let's maybe a little bit more recent. Where you did your undergrad, what you're doing now.
Cool. Yeah. So I went to SC. Sorry, guys. Graduated 2012. And then went through a few different career pivots. So started a company that was a greeting card company. That didn't work out very well because no one sends greeting cards anymore. And then moved into a professional services business. So I joined a company that built mobile apps, web apps for a bunch of different types of companies, kind of like an agency. We eventually sold that in 2015 to Capital One. And then we spun out the remainder of the team, which is now Kunai, and I'm running that. We work with financial services companies, building products for them, anywhere from mobile apps for consumers, web apps that Youhee is working on, and data platforms, you name it. We do it for the industry. We work with companies like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, AAA, and primarily, like I said, focus on financial services.
Great. And Kishan is the only one on the panel that did not go to the Masters of Engineering program, but is a very actively recruiting Masters of Engineering students, and recruited Youhee. Youhee, can you introduce yourself, and if you also want to include what your capstone was when you were in the program?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, guys. My name is Youhee. I was class of 2018. My major was IEOR. So about capstone, right?
Yeah, what was your capstone and then what you're doing now?
Okay, so did anybody do the case study yesterday? Was Fleming doing it yesterday too? So yeah, I did a capstone with him. So our capstone was on autonomous driving industry. We did data analysis on all those different relevant like patent data. So one thing that was really interesting for our project was that we had 14 people. As far as I remember, most projects are within 4 to 6, maybe even 8 people. But for us, it was 14 people, 5 different teams. So we had to work between the teams with the advisors. So that was a lot more dynamic experience, but that's what I really loved about it. And that's how I actually got to understand that I'm really interested in the role of product manager and how I ended up here too. So yeah, so that's how my capstone was.
Great. Yeah. Mason?
Sure. Perfect. Hey everyone, my name is Mason. I am a current student this year, graduating in May, so just about a month from now. And my undergrad was at Texas A&M. Then I went to work in industry for about 4 years, pretty close by over at Tesla. So I was working in research and development for prototyping there, which really gave me an awesome idea of what I wanted to focus in with regards to a master's degree. So now I'm focusing in product design in mechanical engineering and just working to look for a job now. Came back from an on-site interview earlier today, so yeah, it's going swimmingly.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, my turn. I'm Tara. I'm a BIOE from 2017. I actually did my undergrad here as well in bioengineering. And I graduated with my undergrad in 2015, and between that and the MEng, I took a gap year where I was just doing research in a lab that was doing enzymology, molecular biology, a lot of biology stuff. I like to tell people that I'm a bioengineer, not a bioengineer, because then people will say, oh, you're an engineer. I'm like, no, like, not really, sort of, kind of. But my capstone was also very engineering. I worked in the Amy Herr lab, who's a very famous bioengineering professor around here. And she had us working on a project to develop a thermocycler for in-gel nucleic acid amplification. It was something that was to be used with her technology of single-cell Western blot, which I think a couple companies spun out of that project in her lab. And so it was me and one other person working on the project, and you know, it was very much engineering and pushed me out of my comfort zone, which was fun. But you know, I'm good on the engineering now.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashwin. I did my undergrad at UC San Diego. Just graduated in June, and then I came here right away. I did my undergrad in bioinformatics, and then I kind of pivoted a little bit into the EECS department here, and I'm in data science within EECS. Our capstone project, I work with Professor John Canny. For the EECS folks here, you might have heard of like the Canny Edge Detector. It's the same guy. So we work on a project in natural language processing, kind of in the explainable AI domain. And then in July, I'm starting as a machine learning engineer at a startup called DataVisor in Mountain View.
Can I just say, like, I've never felt so, like, amazingly inadequate in terms of my intelligence. Like, these are, like, way smarter people than I am. And some of the stuff that you guys do, though, I think it's, like, really important to touch on. I think, like, you guys have a lot of depth in what you do. But a great thing about this program is that they support you in being able to sort of not be so fixated on that thing and have a little bit more diversity in the way in which you talk about what you do, especially when you're talking to a potential employer. So I think, you know, when Youhee came in and she talked about her background, I'm like, yeah, that's really useful. But then, like, we started talking about how, you know, she's been managing projects, her capstone, and that was incredibly helpful for us to, like, really understand her candidacy, and we immediately hired her.
Great, thank you. So I guess dovetailing off of that, I know Ashwin went through his recruitment process in the fall, and you leveraged the capstone a lot. Do you want to talk about how that came up in your interviews and how your capstone project kind of integrated everything you were learning here?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as Julie mentioned, I kind of started in around August, early September. A lot of the EECS recruitment kind of happened relatively early, so we kind of got started with the career fairs back then. And even though the capstone had just started about a month in, a lot of employers, the minute I kind of put that on my resume, a lot of employers had a lot of questions. And I remember at my onsite, during my onsite at the company that I ended up joining, I had an entire interview just dedicated to a project that I had started 3 weeks ago, which was a little nerve-wracking, mainly because I wasn't at the point where I could actually explain what we had done so far. So, yeah, well, but I mean, the nice thing was that I think having that capstone as a really concrete project allowed a lot of employers to kind of get targeted on that and talk to something that's really current as opposed to something that you did 2-3 years ago that you might not remember a lot of the details of, which I found personally really helpful. And then I interviewed with some of the bigger like tech companies, Google, Uber, etc., and then also with some startups. And then I kind of made my decision based on the role and also location and specifically the fact that I was working at a company that was small enough that I could actually kind of, I felt like I would be able to be a little bit more hands-on in that kind of role as opposed to a huge company. But I think it's a very individual decision. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Youhee, do you have something
so about capstone, a lot to talk about there. So for me, I actually worked for 3 years before I joined MN, 2 years as a marketing strategist and 1 year as a project coordinator. I'm from Korea, and in Korea we don't have a term called product manager as commonly used. So I didn't even know what PM was, and I got here, and I got into this amazing capstone project. At first, it was named VR strategy on autonomous driving with Volvo. After a month, I think after 2 weeks, Volvo dropped. After a month, VR dropped. So we went through a lot of changes within the year. And since we had 14 members on the team, it took us almost a semester to figure out how we're going to divide the teams, how we're going to make this work, to make the process and everything. And it was actually pretty amazing, to work with a bunch of engineers to make this happen. And coming to the second semester, I've been talking to my professors, Julie, Wayne, and all the other people. And when I was talking to them about how can I put my career path, and Youhee, I think product manager could suit you. I'm like, what's that? It sounds cool. It's like PM, but what do I do there? Do I have to make a product myself, or is it only hardware, or how does this even work? And then I found out later that so what I've been doing within the Capstone project was really related to it, to make sure that our Capstone product went out there, and then it wasn't a clear roadmap. I was making sure that everybody was on track, and we were moving forward on that. So that's how I kind of actually got to learn a lot more about my role that I'm doing right now. And I'm not sure if Kishan remembers everything, but I did use a lot of my experience that I used within my capstone to deliver the way that how my current capstone experience can be transferred into my current job, and which actually really worked. So yeah.
Great, thank you. So Tara, you've been in the workforce for a few years now. What would you say the biggest advantages to going through this program in your day-to-day work?
So it's kind of a loaded question. There's a lot of advantages that the program gives you going into, actual job. Before I got into the program, I kind of had this idea of how industry works. I knew some people who got jobs straight out of undergrad. I tried. I couldn't get a job. And so I ended up just doing research. And, it ended up working out really well for me because I got into this program. And honestly, it changed my life. A lot of what they teach you, it kind of seems like common knowledge, you should know, but nobody's actually sat down and told you, hey, when you're in an interview, you sit up straight, you look at the person in the eye, you smile, you can make jokes, you can be friendly, and that actually makes you a better candidate compared to people who are just I do all the technical work. Anyone can, they're going to train you to do your job right at that company, right? But being a person who can mold into different cultures and mold into different environments and flourish there is not something that they are going to teach you. That's something that the MEng program taught me. And all of the resume advice, all of that kind of stuff, that's really, really helpful because I can't tell you, I'm on a lot of these hiring committees now because we're in an exponential growth phase in my company and we're trying to hire, and we see all these resumes and I'm like, oh my God, how did you make this? Like, what software did you use? What is this? And so, like, there are people out there who don't know how to make a resume. And so, you know, one of the biggest advantages of being in this program was that you have people telling you, hey, no, that you don't write that there. You don't do this here. You don't do it like that. You do it like this. Here's an example of what you should do. Here's an example of what you don't do. You know, and that applies to, you know, how to speak, how to present yourself, all of that. And so I think that, honestly, all of the engineering leadership part of this program is the advantage of taking this program. Anywhere you go can teach you technical stuff. You can learn that even by reading Wikipedia. You can learn what a semiconductor is. But you can't learn how to be a good candidate for a job through Wikipedia. You know, you need actual advice for that.
Great, thank you. So I do want to make sure, I'm going to ask one more question. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to ask all our panelists questions. So start thinking about all the questions you want to ask them. And I'm gonna close with this for now. So Mason, can you talk a little bit? So Tara was just talking about, you know, what she learned from the program. Can you expand upon your experiences this year, what you've taken advantage of on campus, whether it be career services, or through the MEng program or on campus in general that have helped you kind of form your path as you're exploring and job hunting and trying to figure out your next step?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I didn't really touch on what my capstone was. It's with a company called Squishy Robotics. So my capstone company is actually out of Skydeck, which Julie had mentioned, which is pretty unique because Skydeck is really closely associated with Berkeley, and it really pushes to accelerate either companies coming out of Berkeley or that are related in some way. So just being in that environment, besides the pretty friggin' awesome views from the penthouse suite floor of the skyscraper off campus, it's you get a really tight-knit network of people coming in with really vastly different companies. So you see VCs there and you see people going through their pitches. So especially if that's an interest of yours, it's a really unique place to be involved. But besides just the capstone avenue of this program, Berkeley itself is just such a tightly networked place and really interconnected with companies. And just on campus, how many events are going on? You could try and hit every single event and you wouldn't sleep for years. There's just always things going on. So friends in hackathons every other weekend. There's different companies like Boast that comes to campus, for example, and they did a complete design challenge focused around their products and augmented audio and the things they're working on in industry for the next few months. So they bring their real hardware, expensive headphones, and the latest and greatest that they have, and you get to work in teams, people that you've never worked with, people that aren't necessarily in the program, and that's just further reaching out and meeting different types of people, and then coming up in about a week with potentially completely new product that Bose could even sponsor or pay you to continue to develop. So I think it's really just about trying to get your foot in a lot of different areas that you can and really just explore different opportunities that are going on.
Great, thank you. So let's open it up to all of you. You can ask questions to all the panelists. You could direct them at individuals or myself. We're happy to answer any questions.
Is there a mic runner?
In the back.
Yeah, way in the back.
Okay.
It's right there, and he's there.
Hey guys, my name is David Tondro. I'm a prospective student in the mechanical engineering department.
Hey, David.
Specialization in controls. Hey. My questions to any or all of you. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, and how do you think the MEng degree can help you get there?
Oh my gosh, we're being interviewed.
Why are we getting this question?
I'm in an interview now.
I thought this was over.
That's funny.
Do you want to start?
It's the first question.
And right out of the gate, good question.
Anybody wants to start?
All right, I'll start. I'll take it. I'll bite. All right, 10 years from now,
Yeah, 10 years.
we've sold the company.
Yeah.
We're sitting on a beach.
Can I be part of this?
Which one?
Someone's bringing us drinks, and we're having a great time. But like, I think how the MEng program can help Youhee, and sort of heard 10 years. But we haven't talked about your 10-year plan, but I think, look, it gives you the level of, like, I hate to use the word diversity because it's been used 30 times already, but, like, look, you understand how to be a human and not, someone who is very deeply technical. You understand how to interact with people way better than, coming out of a CS program or, a deeply technical engineering program. It is the value add of these types of programs. And so I would say that, regardless of where you are 10 years from now, some of the stuff that you're picking up here will compound over time, right? This is like a really early part of your career. Some of these foundational skills do compound, right? So you want to start early, and some of the skills that you learn in outside of the hard technical skills are what's going to be really valuable going forward.
I'm not sure. That's my honest answer. But one thing I know for sure is that I think I'm going to be doing something new, something different. The reason why I can say this is because I think around 10 years ago, I was a history geek. I was a politics geek. I thought I was going to end up in law school, go to DC, do something related to NGOs. My undergrad major was actually international studies. And I ended up in marketing. And then I wanted to do, I want to try engineering too. Like, I'm an Asian, I'm good at math. So I tried. I loved my MNG experience. It let me transition into tech industry. I love living here in the Bay Area. And I want to stay here for a while, I guess, for now. That's why I think I can say, like, MNG really gave me the courage to jump into the new space. Like, I would not have imagined myself living in Bay Area 10 years ago, like doing tech product manager stuff. So that's why I think one thing I could be sure is that I could be doing something new, totally different maybe. But yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say.
But the key thing there, right, is like, regardless of what you're doing 10 years from now, like, you've picked up the skills that would enable you to explore wherever you want to go.
Exactly.
And what I've seen from our students is, the skills that they're taking is they're adaptable. No matter what the technologies look like, they know how to learn them. They know how to work with teams. Those things aren't going away. And yeah, I don't know if anyone else has something to add before we go to the
just to
next
speak
question.
a bit to Youhee's point, doing something different, right? So you look back and, like, my dad, probably a lot of our parents have been in the same company 30 years, whatever it might be. I was at my last company for 4. I came here, and people I became really close with were cutting out after 2. And I'm like, this is nuts. People are leaving the company after a year and a half. Bay Area, and sometimes it's just a Bay Area thing, but there's just so many different cool things going on that you're compelled to explore new companies doing new things. And if you're not, then I encourage you to push inside the company you're a part of for new things, to push boundaries. But don't be complacent in what you're doing. And over 10 years, I don't know, you could maybe be at 3 different companies. I kind of want to be at my next company for some time and grow a lot, but I also kind of hope I'm not, just because it keeps things interesting, right?
As an employer, if you leave after a year, I'm going to be very upset.
We'll see.
Noted.
We'll see.
Yeah, it depends on your motivation, I think. But I think, yeah, the average is that within a year and a half, you're at a different company, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But there's so much opportunity in the Bay Area, and being right here is, like, enabling all of that for you. But I don't know, for somebody like me, like, yeah, I want to be at the same company and, like, grow. But even between when I graduated in 2017 and now, I was at 4 different companies. I'm on my 4th. So I'm not saying you should do that, but I like to kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, shop around. I don't know, but I shopped around, and not saying you should do that.
Kishan is freaking out here.
Sorry, man, but
this is my nightmare.
Don't hire me. But right now, I'm in a position that is a PhD level position, and I only have a master's degree, and so I don't know. It just kind of, for me, I like change. I like growing, and everything that I do, everything that I've gone through, has taught me something different. and has resulted in who I am now. And I'm hoping that in 10 years from now, maybe I'll be doing something different, maybe I'll be doing the same thing, but either way, I'll be a stronger and better person.
Great. Next question.
Hi, I'm Eliana. I'm going to be studying mechanical engineering. Berkeley's such a big name in the engineering world. Do you find people hold you to a higher standard or expect more from you, or does it just streamline your process to have that name on your resume?
Tara, maybe 4 different companies.
They
What
like
do you think?
it. They like it. They're like, oh, Berkeley. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yes. So, but yeah, no, they actually do. They see it and they like it. I mean, you're in the Bay Area, you're competing with people from Stanford. I did my undergrad here, I did my master's here, and they see that and they like it a lot. And they're very, they know, like Berkeley students, like graduates have a reputation. And, you know, when you get involved with the program in the school, you understand what that reputation is. And it's something that predates all of us, you know. And so yeah, it definitely gives you an edge a little bit because they see that and they pull out your resume and then they want to talk to you. It's like, oh, you're a Berkeley graduate. You're competing with people from other great schools too, but then again, you have people from like SFSU. And they're going to try to take a Berkeley grad over an SFSU grad. It's just unfortunate, but that's how it works. And so, yeah, it does help streamline the process a little bit. But also, like, being in this program, like, all these events that Julie was talking about, the employer breakfast, these different startup networking night, all these different events that they organize for you, that puts you automatically at the forefront. And so you're like, hey, you know, I'm a Berkeley grad. Like, yeah, I know that already. Like, give me a resume. So it does help.
Did it help you?
Yeah, so just like two things. I mean, like on the side of streamlining the process, right? Look, Berkeley's a brand, right? And like make sure that you understand that Berkeley is a pretty strong brand and will continue to be. We've never hired a student prior to Youhee. And we had interviewed one other person from the program who we were trying to hire as well. She ended up going elsewhere. We were very upset about that. But we had never hired new grads. And so that was one really cool thing that I've learned is that should you choose to go through this program and you will want to be involved in technology, there's a pretty high chance we'll be talking about employment, next year.
All right, next question, thank you. Down here in the front.
Hi, my name's Choi. I'm a prospective nuclear engineering student, and I have a question for the whole panel, minus Kishan. So the vision you had for yourself when you started the M engineering program, did it match up to the realities of it, or did it or was your vision constantly developing, or did you find yourself in the position you thought you'd be when you started the program? How does that, what were the realities of how you ended up versus where you thought you'd be when you started, things like that? So.
Mm-hmm. I'll speak to that a bit. So as I mentioned before, I think coming from industry really gave me a good idea of what it was I wanted to gain out of a master's program, which I think it's excellent also to come straight from undergrad if that's something you desire. But coming in with that knowledge, it really helped me set up my coursework, set up my extracurriculars, just really get involved in the things that I knew I wanted to leave here with. And so to answer your question about did it fall into what I had intended and what aligned, then I would say, yeah, somehow almost 100%. It's been an awesome experience and has really met all my expectations, and I definitely have no doubt I'm leaving here with much more than when I started.
Did you know that you'd spend spring break in Hong Kong at design firms?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No, I can talk a bit about that
That's
afterward.
cool.
But yeah, essentially one of the courses I'm in now, we all take a spring break field trip to Hong Kong to look into design for manufacturability and meet with some of the design students there, tour some of the manufacturing sites, and lose a lot of sleep. So it's good.
Maybe one thing I would add to that is that one thing that kind of surprised me when I got here was, you already know about the capstone, and there's leadership courses, there's technical courses, and I kind of expected that they would be these 3 separate elements, but it turns out that they're actually super interconnected. Our capstone is really just it is technical, and it's very related to our technical courses, and then also the capstone deliverable is actually very similar to our leadership. So it ends up being very interconnected, and you don't feel like it's 3 different parts, and the work often happens together on them. So I think that actually, it does 2 things. One is that it brings the entire program as like a cohesive package. And the second thing is it also means that you communicate with a lot of people who, your fellow classmates, because you're working with them on multiple areas, not just a technical course, for example.
For me, I think there's one thing that did not surprise me at all. That surprised me really a lot. That didn't surprise me was how rigorous and how really professional the program was. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take a lot of math-related, engineering-related courses. I'm going to struggle a lot, and I did. Since I didn't have like huge math background before I got here, like when I took the classes, I'm like, my friends were like, oh, it's easy, like it's calculus, it's exponential, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, huh? But still, like that's how I learned so much from the program. It was not, we do emphasize a lot about the leadership courses here in the capstone because that's a really important part of the aspect, but it does not mean that we don't really focus a lot on our technical courses. Those are also really professional. You can learn a lot from it. You get a lot more network within that area. So that did not surprise me at all. Like it was Berkeley after all. That did really surprise me was how strong the network was. My friends had to take turns every week to tutor me for the classes. I got a lot of help from them. I always say that I never would have graduated without them. We got really close, a lot of our friends did. For our graduation, after the ceremony, for the dinner, for me, it was 6 of us. All our parents came from Greece, Lebanon, France, Korea. We had all dinner together, 30 of us. It was really cozy. And that kind of expanded to the whole class. We still talk to each other a lot. It's not only the alumni events that we get along together. We are even trying to start the new alumni board so that we can make this even stronger. So that's one thing that I did not really expect from. I did not expect that my master's friends are going to be such a tight group. That I think I really got a lot from here. Yes. Yeah.
Great. We probably have time for a couple more questions.
Hi, Patrick, incoming civil engineering, MEng student. Just curious, whether it's the Bay Area, Berkeley specifically, the UC Berkeley, or in the MEng degree, what has been your most negative experience here? We've been hearing a lot of positives.
It's a good question.
What have you liked the least? What have you liked the least about this to anyone?
Which one?
I can talk about the Bay Area if you have any things about that. Look, I came from SoCal, right? So the sun's out a little more down there than here. But and things are a little more expensive. I will say, just get comfortable with the idea that you're going to be spending a little bit more money living here. But granted, the jobs that you have opportunities to take on after you complete the program are paying 20, 30, 40% more than you would earn down south. I got California, that's all I got. But I will say the Bay Area has some incredibly smart people who are doing some really interesting things. I would encourage you to break out of just being, if you're pursuing tech, just tech, because there are other communities here that you should be participating in because it will help you be less one-dimensional.
Anybody?
I
Great.
think they should go first. They're in the program right now.
Current students,
And it's okay if you don't have an answer.
No negatives.
No, but I heard that it changed though. I was going to talk about my boot camp.
Oh, yeah.
That for us, the winter boot camp, I think it started on January 2nd. So we had to come back right after the break. But I heard that it changed.
Well,
so
we got the 7th.
yes,
That's
January
better.
6th. So you've got 5 more days. So that's good.
That's better, yeah.
Maybe one thing I would add is that I think the nature of the program and just the way that the schedule of when things tend to be due is that it tends to be very seasonal, up and down in terms of the work, which sometimes can make it a little bit difficult to plan, in the future. That was one thing I realized. But I think you get used to it after a point. But especially in the first semester, especially if you're trying to do recruiting in the first semester, it can be a little bit challenging to try to schedule interviews when you don't know when things aren't going to be necessarily due. So that's something that you kind of have to get used to balancing. But if you do it in spring, then you have a slightly different challenge, which is now you're recruiting when most of your capstone stuff is starting to get due. So it's just a balance that can take a little bit of time to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, there's no doubt time management is of the essence in this program. I would say probably the most challenging experience I had was right at the beginning. It was actually when I applied. You apply based on what you know about the program, what you learn off of the website. So MNG mentions some really excellent coursework that it gets you really inspired. The only trick is, because it's a one-year program and just based off of Berkeley's curriculum, once in a while there are classes that do not repeat for that year or semester. So in some cases you could be expecting to go in and then be able to choose that course that you had your heart set on, and it might happen to not be offered that semester. So that can be disheartening at the very beginning. But the excellent part of that is you get to look at some of the other unexpected courses that you didn't know about, and you can pretty easily fulfill your desire in an unexpected way that maybe you didn't think of, or you get to be a part and under a certain professor that teaches it in a really unique way. So that's just an experience I had, but learned that it was a really easy fix because there are so many other opportunities that you can find.
And my negative was was actually related to my capstone. So one of the best parts of this program that stood out to me was there's no thesis defense. But guess what I had to do? I actually had a thesis defense, and it was totally up to my advisor, and only I had to do it. My partner didn't have to do it. And like I said before, it was mechanical and electrical engineering, totally out of my knowledge, and it was so scary. I was like, my God, I'm not going to graduate. But like, yeah, so that was definitely unexpected, and I was like, wait, is that okay? Can she do that to me? And it's like, yeah, she apparently can. So, it's up to your advisor if they want to make you do a defense, but the Fung Institute doesn't require you to do a defense, and so that was mine.
Great. We have time for one more question. Who's the lucky person?
Don't all raise your hand at once.
So many questions.
All right, well, if we don't... No? Okay, great. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'd like to thank our panel for joining us today. Thank you so much. And we do have some refreshments outside, and the panel and myself, we will all be around, and the Fung Institute staff for any last-minute questions. And thank you so much for coming and joining us today, and I hope you got all the information you wanted. Feel free to email us, and I hope to see you in August. Go Bears!